Personal Trust Account System, preparing for your own retirement future. Individual responsibility simplifies government by design. This page changed with the August 20, 2025 edit. Preparing your own financial future. This financial trust system replaces many government assistance programs, such as loans for housing, education, business, as well as welfare, medical, insurance, Social Security, etc. All government assistance and present-day welfare programs roll into this personal financial trust account program that is initially funded by the parents for each of their children, maintained with whatever financial institution the individual desires. From birth up to age 18 and maybe 24, the parents and or guardians contribute $100 per month or more for each child they birth and or adopt and or foster. Any money the child receives during this time through chores, allowances, gifts, inheritance, found money, etc., 90% of those funds are deposited into the account. This teaches the child to live on far less than they receive and how to manage their money, saving for large ticket items, borrowing from and repaying themselves with interest helps make themselves richer and more financially stable. After age 18, maybe 24, only the child, as an adult, contributes at least 20% of their gross receipts, gifts, earnings, and income, etc. This replaces the unconstitutional personal wage tax, falsely called an income tax on wages. The government, subject to individual account holders' vote approval, may use deposits to establish city enterprise funds, such as utilities, solid waste, sewage treatment, etc., as well as provide other public services required to adequately defend the citizens' rights and to encourage business. The government pays 5% annual interest, compounded monthly, on funds borrowed from these accounts. Individuals may invest in business ventures to attract jobs. The businesses would also repay the funds at a greater interest rate than the government. The body of resident investors have a 51% controlling interest in the business. From birth through age 18, maybe 24, the parents, as initial trust managers, may borrow against the account to benefit the child named on the account. The parents must repay these funds at the same interest rate or greater than the interest rate the government pays into the account when borrowing from the funds. If the child dies before assuming control over the trust account, the funds revert to the parents or guardians, etc., who contributed, or as the child details in their will, if they have one drawn. The child, once they either turn 18 or 24, or emancipate themselves before then, becomes trust manager, and they may borrow from their account for education, housing, finance, business, medical use, or for whatever use they desire. The child, as an adult, should also repay what they borrow against their account at the same rate or greater than the interest rate the government pays when it borrows from the account. Repayment into the account should be done until the account holder reaches retirement age of about 55 years or older, if the account holder desires. Any unrepaid funds reduces the retirement benefits from the account that the individual may use later in life. If the individual drains their account, becomes homeless, needs medical care and such, the government has absolutely no other services or welfare. The individual must rely on other people and charitable organizations around them for assistance. It is not the duty of the government to take from one person who manages their money successfully and give it to another who does not. If practiced, by the time the child reaches age 24 years, their balance will have roughly reached $170,000. This assumes that the child from age 14 through 18 works and contributes $780 per month in addition to the $100 per month that their parents contribute. As an adult, for the over age 18, this assumes that the individual earns at least $15 per hour, works at least 40 hours a week, and the individual contributes 20% or more of their total wages, gifts, and income. That, or works a few more hours to make up the difference. The FICA and income tax withholdings that soon end will fund the Citizens Trust account, as opposed to the unconstitutional wage tax disguised as an income tax. The government will fund the majority of its activity by way of the fair tax. It also replaces Social Security and other welfare programs, government financial education, government-funded mortgages, bailouts, and all sort of others. By the time the person reaches age 55, so long as they have either not borrowed against their account or have repaid all borrowed funds with interest and or successfully invested some of the trust fund, the individual's account balance is roughly $2,600,000, from which they may use for retirement or in any other way they desire. At 5% annual interest compounded monthly, the individual receives over $10,000 per month interest on their $2.5 million balance. Add to this, if the person desires an additional $10,000 per year gradual drawdown against the balance for the next 50 or so years, it provides a $130,000 gradually decreasing annual living fund. For a visual in chart form, see this PDF. Up next, commercial industrial development investments. Governments derive their just power from the consent of the governed, 1776. The governed by design are intended to work together as a unified body, controlling the government's powers, equally protecting each other's rights. End page content.